And we'll just watch a little video.
Well, the process is actually one of, we submitted a bid to Sport Alliance, and they send out subsequently a bid review team, and they come out to look at the site or sites that they have an interest in, because they're all fully described in the original bid document. So out they've come, they've defined where they want to go, and we are going to go from one edge of the county to the other, and we're going to look at all of the venues, and they will then give us a critique of what they see in the venue, what concerns they might have, or in fact they can praise us for having a wonderful venue. But it all goes into a process whereby they will go back to Toronto afterwards. They will rate us all, and I say all of those who are engaged in this bid process. And when they're finished, they hope to announce by the end of March the site for the 2014 Parasport Games, and we are just hoping that we're going to be the one.
We applied for the games because so much of our work in tourism of late over the last 2 to 3 years has been to look at what opportunities exist without having to build additional facilities. And all our research shows that people love coming here, are looking for things to do. And by tying into an activity like the Parasport Games, we felt we had both the volunteer base and the resources to pull it off. Plus, it's an attractor for Northumberland. It's the type of activity that gives you presence in place, and the more presence in place we create, the more people will know about what's going on here, and hopefully spend some more time here.
These days, with internet, it's less concern for you possibly, but it is something rather to offer. So this one actually is a room that we are renovating right now, but this is the one.
We don't know for certain. We have heard of 2 others. Sault Ste. Marie was in the bid process. Windsor Essex is in the bid process. We're in the bid process, so we know of 3. But beyond that, it's just a question of others we know had expressed intent. We don't know whether they ever finished their bid processes. And it is a very extensive process, because you've got to go through everything from the financing to the volunteers to how you're going to deal with food, all the little details, housing, accommodation, how are you going to find the necessary opportunities to deal with those who have disabilities that require special equipment. It is a rather intense process, and it's been worked on for some months in order to make a proper and full presentation. But we're very proud of our presentation. We think it's an excellent presentation, and we're so pleased, as you can see from the video we presented today. We think we've got a lot to offer the Site Review Committee and to all those who would come and visit us.
Oh, anything, again, because we own the property, we can do anything you want.
Question for you.
That's why I'm here.
Normally do?
Pardon?
Door off, because it opens inward and doesn't allow for turning radius and
Yep,
stuff.
we can do that.
Doors off, and the other is, and that's
If we get the games, it would mean, well, I think it means a number of things. Just from the sentiment that we feel in the room at the moment, we really have raised the bar. The sort of volunteer drive, the people who've been contacting us as soon as they became aware that we were bidding on the games, and their willingness to offer their expertise, their knowledge, good for community, builds momentum. We were looking at trying to do an activity that we thought we could manage the first time through, and hopefully if we are successful in this bid, it allows us to go after other games opportunities. We've taken a brief look at the over 55 and the seniors games. That might very well become the next opportunity for us, and the investment that's been made by the various communities, Port Hope, Brighton, Coburg, and facility to use those facilities is part of our role.
Now, probably right from where Chris is standing is the easiest to see, sir. This door's on the spring so much.
Well, I think you have to appreciate that this was an account county initiative in the beginning, and of course all of the member municipalities were engaged in the process as well. It became volunteer once the seed had been planted, but initially it would have come from the county, and in particular Dan Borowick through the Economic Development Office of the county. And I think that that's been a very important catalyst to get the rest of us to come out and volunteer, get engaged, and find ourselves here today.
One thing this, not only the community of Cobourg, but all of the county does not lack is that, that volunteer aspect of people wanting to get involved and helping.
Yeah, there is no doubt about volunteerism, and as I mentioned this morning, it was suggested to me as a good example of volunteerism is just simply looking at Rotary clubs, and within our community we have one Rotarian for every 250 citizens, whereas in the city of Toronto I think it's something in the order of one for every 5,000 citizens. So you can see that there are a lot more individuals who are feeling the urge to go out and help their fellow men. Well, the dates haven't been finalized, but obviously we're going for the 2014 Parasport Games. And the general timing is usually the last week of May or the first week of June. And once, if we are awarded the game, it is established, we'll announce the dates immediately.
How many accessible rooms do you have?
I think it was one or two.
114, 107.
Three.
And other than
They have in fact been very, very instrumental in raising the quality of life in Northumberland County to a level that has made us a destination of choice. And all the mayors in Northumberland County and myself hope this combination of community spirit and the very first-class facilities you're going to see help you to make Northumberland County your destination of choice. Thank you very much.
Regulation size basketball courts. Most of the game markings that typical of the gymnasium have all been applied, including indoor tennis. It's another activity that we actually have during the winter months. When the racket club's obviously not out in tennis courts.
Well, I'm not an economist, but I can tell you that they're going to be obviously 2,000 to 3,000, maybe more people who would just come in for that event. And in that process, that's just looking at the individual athletes, their trainers, coaches, and parents, and their immediate friends. That says nothing about others who would be attracted broadly just because of their curiosity to come out and see what a Parasport Games is all about. And I think it's very important. I noticed that in the last Olympics Games that they actually got a sellout crowd for the Parasport Games following the regular Olympics. I think Parasport is really on the rise. I think it's very important that we appreciate that these are individuals who have had it a little more difficult to succeed, and they have accomplished it. And the marvelous part of that is the human spirit that they exemplify in overcoming these problems and becoming top-ranked athletes.
When you walk through the lobby, if you veer to the right is the men's washroom, change room, shower. There's also a handicap washroom available. And then there's a small family change room, and there are lockers in each one. They don't have
The province does provide funding to the successful applicant. Game registrations produce the other offset in revenue. And then there's a responsibility on the part of the community to do some fundraising. It should be noted that not of all the Parasport Games that have been held over the years since the late 70s, none of the games have showed a negative balance. They've either broken even or had a small surplus. So they are a positive influence in the local economy.
These rooms are space clear to be able to get through, but they are not our handicapped accessible rooms. I'm just showing you because obviously you want to see all different
We'll
types.
need more than those, so we're just gonna do a couple measurements.
Absolutely. Sir?
Well, we're going to go to venues, for example, the ENSS track, because that's where all the track and field facilities are that we're going to use. And that track is a new track. It's going to be about $1 million track, and it's going to be just state of the art. So they're going to see that. We may have to move a little snow, but they'll see it. and then we're going to go to the various accommodation venues. We have two major accommodation venues, one being the Best Western and one being the Comfort Inn in Port Hope. And we think that when they see the venues that we have, in particular in Cobourg, you would look at the CCC, the community center has got excellent facilities, and it's the only one in the area that is properly set up for sledge hockey. And as was mentioned today, they've got plexiglass benches so that you can actually see out while you're on your sledge and get out back onto the ice. And most facilities in most communities do not have that at all. So we're way ahead in things like that.
They've used it for physio, massage therapy, kind of all of the above. So it's a good multi-purpose space as far, and its proximity to the gymnasium. And so that kind of gives you an idea of when we've had these types of events.
That's right. It's the first time that they would, I think it's been interesting in discussing this with the site review team, that we are multiple communities, because normally they go into a city, meet the mayor, meet the committee, and that's the city. Here they're having the opportunity, they'll meet Mayor Thompson in Port Hope later this morning, they'll meet Mayor Wallace in Brighton. So it's a different perspective. And the other thing, in just some of the early dialogue with them as we took them for a brief drive through the snow and around town, is that every community seems unique, and that's quite attractive to them.
Everyone loves the pillow top beds except my guys because they can't They love the comfort in it, they just can't get it out independently. And then that's what we want to promote, is their independence as much as possible. So, things like that.
Some of the ones you go to hotels now.
But we're going to look at a lot of other gymnasia. We're going to look at an equestrian situation just east of town here, or west of town, where we've got equestrian events, or what they call para-equestrian events, that will be going on. These are a wide range of options that we're able to provide. We saw this morning that the Jack Berger Sports Complex is excellent in terms of swimming. It's got the capacity to provide what is called a fast pool, and I think athletes always want to perform at their very best in the best of conditions, and we've got that in Port Hope. So we're looking at those. We're going to see. The interesting thing for me is that we're able to combine all of these within less than 30 minutes drive from any point in the entire area. And I challenge a big city to be able to show me where they can, 2 or 3 minutes outside their core, find an equestrian facility like we have here just west of Cobourg. So I think all of these things put together, we're going to have a wonderful day.
A friend of mine from Toronto brings her baby here to go into the therapy.
It's the main feature of that apartment, so I will say. Especially for the little ones trying to learn how to swim, they'd rather learn in a nice.
There is. We feel we have enough accommodations that can support the games, and we were very cognizant of that as we applied for the games, knowing that the amount of athletes to the games would be we could do it.
Well, we're going to do a review once we go through today, because some of the sites we know have to be upgraded in some way or other just to make the accessibility work. And we've already had a team out to look at these things. We've already looked at how we can make them fully accessible. And so when the team says today, what about this problem? We hope that we can instantly say, we've already addressed that, we have the answer, and it will be ready for 2014.
You know, when we did the what was called the Premier Rank Tourism Destination study, we identified a number of things that would support growth in tourism. Certainly, drawing events to the area was one of the priorities, and so we've made this part of our own tourism strategy. And this will be part of a larger recreational strategy. Typically, a recreational strategy is done by engaging all the communities and trying to get a sense of the number of community assets and determining where we would like to go. you probably noticed from the group that constitutes the bid committee, all these folks volunteered on first ask to actually go after a games bid because it's a tangible, and that's what generally draws volunteers more so than in some cases trying to create the bigger strategy. These are hands-on folks, who we can do this for you. What is it you want us to do? So it's been very, very positive.
Well, there is from Sport Alliance, there's $60,000 right off the top. And then there are other forms of financing. There will be some that we will have to go out and raise, but it's a very modest part of what's available. And we've already raised, I think, approximately $50,000 in pledges at this point, and our goal was to raise $75,000. So we don't think it should be a real problem at all for our individuals to raise that money. All the rest, for example, each one of the participants, for example, pays to come to the games. So they actually pay entry fees, and I think that's roughly, according to my memory, about $50,000 right there. So although the games overall cost about $250,000, it's all been worked out, so we don't think there'll be any problem in meeting that goal. And in fact, we hope that there is what we might call a legacy fund left over so that we can do a few things after the games that may be positive for the community and those who do have disabilities.